In 2010, everybody got to see Saw the Final Chapter, aka Saw 3D. And we thought that was the end of Saw, even though they had planned a Saw 8. But as you heard in my re-review, some of that film story got blended into Saw the Final Chapter. But 7 years after that, Jigsaw was back yet again. So brace yourselves, because here's a re-review of Jigsaw. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. I'm the Big D, and this time around, I bring to you a re-review of the 2017 horror flick Jigsaw, released by Lionsgate for Twisted Pictures, directed by the Spirit Brothers, written by Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger. This is the 8th overall Saw film series following Saw 3D, starring Tobin Bell returning to his role as John Kramer, aka the titular character, plus Matt Passmore, Callum Keith Rennie, Clay Bennett, and Hannah Emily Anderson. The film's plot follows a group of people who find themselves forced to participate in a series of deadly games inside a barn. Meanwhile, the police investigate a new series of murders that fit the modus operandi of the eponymous Jigsaw killer who has been dead for almost a decade. The film was released on October 27th, 2017. Like most of the films in the franchise, it got dissed, but however, it did okay. And what have you. So, if you have not seen my re-reviews of the other Saw films before going to this, check them out by clicking on that card. That'll take you to the playlist. Alright, let's get into the story. Detectives Brad Halloran and Keith Hunt pursue Edgar Munson, who claims that he must start a game in exchange for his own survival. He activates a remote trigger and is then shot and collapses. Five people, Mitch, Anna, Ryan, Carly, and an unconscious man, awaken inside a barn with buckets on their heads and chains around their necks. A tape recording from John Kramer explains that they must each sacrifice blood to survive before the chains pull them towards a wall of blood buzzsaw. Most of the group escapes by cutting themselves, except for the unconscious man who awakens too late. Their next test reveals that Carly, a purse snatcher, accidentally caused the death of an asthmatic woman. To save the others from being hanged, she must inject herself with one of three needles. One, an antidote to a poison in her system, another being saline, and the last one, acid. She refuses, so Ryan injects her with all three, killing her but saving the others. In their third test, Ryan attempts to escape the barn, but his leg falls through loose floorboards and is ensnared by wires. Another tape recorder reveals that he will be punished for breaking the rules and must pull a lever to be set free. Anna and Mitch become trapped inside a silo, forcing Ryan to pull the lever and sever his leg to rescue them. Halloran and Hunt investigate the discovery of corpses that appear to be an unconscious man and Carly, whose deaths fit John's modus operandi. Halloran becomes suspicious of pathologist Logan Nelson and Eleanor Bonville. Eleanor reveals to Logan that she is a Jigsaw fangirl, but now fears this might incriminate her. Hunt spies and informs Halloran. Later, Edgar is abducted from the hospital. In the barn, Mitch is revealed to have sold a faulty motorcycle to John's nephew, causing his death, and is tested by being lowered into a funnel with a spiral-shaped blade powered by a motorcycle engine inside. He attempts to stop the blade, but is ultimately killed. Edgar's corpse is found inside John's grave. Halloran finds a corpse appearing to be Mitch in Eleanor's studio and calls for her and Logan's arrest. Logan convinces Hunt to let them go after telling him that the bullet which hit Edgar was fired by Halloran. whom he and Eleanor suspect to be the new Jigsaw killer. Eleanor deduces the game's location, and she and Logan depart for the barn with Halloran in pursuit. In the barn, Anna and Ryan are shackled to pipes at opposite ends of a room. John confronts them and reveals that Anna asphyxiated her baby and framed her husband, who later committed suicide. And Ryan's drunken tomfoolery caused his friend's death in a car accident. Meanwhile, Hunt finds jigsaw shaped pieces of flesh in Halloran's freezer. For their final test, John leaves the two a shotgun load with one shell, saying it is their key to freedom. Logan and Eleanor are ambushed by Halloran at the barn. Anna tries to shoot Ryan, but the gun backfires, killing her. Ryan finds the now destroyed keys among the debris. They had been hidden inside the shell. Eleanor escapes Halloran while he is drugged by an unseen assailant. Now for the ending, procedure. You want to stop this video once, go to the description box below, fast forward to the time below. As I count down now, if you've seen this already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Logan and Halloran awaken in collars rigged with laser cutters and are told to confess their sins. Halloran forces Logan to go first. Logan confesses to mislabeling John's x-rays years earlier, causing his cancer to go undiagnosed. Despite confessing, Logan is apparently killed. Halloran then admits to allowing criminals to walk free for personal gain, and his collar deactivates. Logan is revealed to still be alive, and also the unconscious man from the first barn game, which took place 10 years earlier. Feeling that Logan should not die because he awoke too late, John saved him and recruited him as his first apprentice. Logan reveals that he recreated the barn games, chose his victims from other criminals that Halloran let go, and framed Halloran as the new Jigsaw killer as revenge for releasing Edgar, who killed Logan's wife. For breaking the rules by forcing Logan to go first, Halloran's collar is reactivated, slicing his head open. Logan says, "I speak for the dead," before shutting the door and leaving. End of story. So, what did I think of Jigsaw? Well, now I've seen this 2 or 3 times. I'll say it's okay. It isn't really that great, though, but well, it tries to do its extreme best. I mean, I will say I did like the laser collars in the end. That was a pretty good trap of a game. At least the film put the franchise back on top, but it lost its power in the next week, though. But however, spiking this, the film made 144.2 million worldwide on its $10 million budget, so it did all right. Its reviews were mostly negative, as the film ranks at 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying that the film definitely won't win many converts to the Saw franchise. Converts to the franchise, but for longtime fans, it should prove a respectably revolting, if rarely scary, diversion. Metacritic has a score of 39, and Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave it a B. IGN, however, gave this a 4.5, saying the good news is the film is not the worst horror movie of the year. The bad news is it's still bad enough that that's the good news. It doesn't capture what made the Saw franchise work in the first place. Entertainment Weekly gave the film a C, calling it disappointing and overly long. Bloody Disgusting gave this a score of 2.5 out of 5, saying, while being a fun ride, it fails to justify its existence with a story that is overly familiar and a twist that doesn't live up to most of its predecessors. Well, that's true. Owen Gleiberman wrote for Variety, found the film that garishly wrote, saying for 92 minutes it more or less succeeds in sawing through your boredom, slicing and dicing with a glum explicitness that raises the occasional tingle of grossed out suspense, but no longer carries any kick of true shock value. Yes, that's understandable. Like I said, I feel like this is okay, but it's not really the best, though. This would probably come close to the bottom of the chain. But I'm not too sure yet because I've still got two more films left of this, and then henceforth I'll finally be done with the Saw franchise. But again, I appreciate them trying their best. The, the Spirig brothers, Pierre and Michael, were the directors. Now, this wasn't their first film. They had recently done some other films, including The Big Picture, which was a short film, as well as films like Undead from 2003, Daybreakers from 2009, and Predestination in 2014, which was a film they did before this. Now, some good things was the score, which was once again done by Charlie Clouser, who, of course, has done the scores for the Saw franchise since its debut. Eventually was brought back to do the score, and I will say it was really good. Now, we have Tobin Bell back as Jigsaw, John Kramer, well, which is fairly okay. I mean, we do get to see a little more of him, unlike what we saw in the last one. Anyway, Matt Passmore plays Logan, and he's fine. Callum Keith Rennie played Detective Halloran, who was fine. Cleve Bennett played Detective Keith Hunt, who was fine. Hannah Emily Anderson as Eleanor, fine. We had Brittany Allen as Carly, Mandela Van Peebles as Mitch, Paul Bronstein as Ryan, and Laura Vandervoort, who of course played Supergirl in one season of TV Smallville, played the character of Anna. Yes, I was rather surprised to see her in this film. But anyway, Jigsaw, I'll say from my point of view, again, it's okay, but it isn't 110% great. It could have used a little more spin and polish and white, and it could have been better. But anyway, they try yet again with a standalone installment 4 years later in the form of Spiral from the Book of Saw, which I'll be reviewing next. So with everything said, Jigsaw's not that great. It's okay, but not great. Would I recommend it? I will say this again. I say either avoid it or give it a one-time watch if you're a hardcore completionist of the Saw franchise. So, what did you think of Jigsaw? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, and you know the rest. And join me later on when I give you a long-awaited review for Spiral from the Book of Saw. I'm finally ready to do that. So, if you like this, you may want to check out my reviews for some of these other films. In the upper left-hand corner, you can check out my review of another horrifying flick from the same year this came out, and that would be Annabelle Creation, the prequel to Annabelle, which is much better than that film. Or go to the upper right-hand corner and check out my review of The Conjuring 2, which came out a year prior. Or go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of the recent hit film from the Twisted Childhood universe, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying see ya.